Hi there, my crafty friends. It's Diane, the Creative Inkster. Today is Wednesday, January 25th, 2023, and I have a nice wall art project for you. And we're going to put a calendar in it, but you can fill it with anything you want. What I'm really highlighting is the Seaside Bay bundle, which is in the January to April mini catalog, and it's just beautiful. Now, I don't live anywhere near oceans. Rarely, or basically, I don't live near water even, really. I mean, there's a lake, but, you know, we're not talking even the Great Lakes being super close. And yet, I just really love this. It's so calming and beautiful that I knew it had to come into my stash. Hi, Vicki. This is a stamp set for $36, or with the coordinating dies, you save 10% when you buy them together. And oh, there's all my extras. You know I keep my extras inside my little cases. And then you've got coordinating dies for most of the pieces. These belong somewhere else. Whoopsie. And it's just quite amazing how some of the stamps, like the shell and the crab and the bird, will have something that die cuts it out. And these three birds, it cuts out all three at once. So you stamp and then it cuts it out. And then it comes with some other pieces that you might use, like this sort of scalloped edge for the edge of the river or the sandbar, that kind of thing, and all the different shells. So it's a great value when you buy a bundle together. You get a lot of use out of it. So I want to show you how I did this project. Hi, Brenda. Let me know if you're here, like Brenda and Vicki have done, and we'll just get going on here. So I'm using a couple of ink pads. I'm using Night of Navy, Soft Suede, and Crumb Cake on this. I did this project with the community living group in Elmira. I do a class there once a month, and there's usually 10 or 12 people with varying abilities. So the projects need to be tailored so that a helper can assist some, but others are challenged enough. So I've been doing it for, I don't know, 6-7 years now. It's been a long time, and I love it. It's so much fun to create with them, because so many times when you create a project or you design a project, people will most of the time follow the instructions, but those that are super creative, and there's one lady in this group, she completely turns it on its axis, and I see some really great projects that she does, or she changes them up. Okay, excuse me. To start off, this piece of wood is 5.5 inches square, 5.5 by 5 3/4. So if you don't have access to this, then you can just cut a piece of cardstock, cut a piece of cereal box or a cardboard box, pardon me, and cover it with some kind of pattern paper, and you're still good to go. I bought these at Dollarama, so I'll just show you the label. They were like $1.50 each, and I just love having something like this for that class that has a way to hang it up. It just makes that project, give it so much more weight and a lot more for them to do with. So this is the platform on which we're going to build our project. Like I said, we're going to use Seaside Bay, and I was trying to come up with different ways that the folks in this class could do more of the stamping. So usually the coordinator, or I'll meet with them first and help them with the stamping, but I knew there had to be a way for them to be able to do some of the stamping. And so I gave that all some thought and remembered that I have a Stamparatus, a stamp positioning tool. And what I basically did was I die cut out the crab and the bird, so with the dies, out of this piece of white card. So this is what the pattern paper backing comes with. So I just took a piece and I spread them around. I found with the Stamparatus, when you're stamping, you don't want to be too close to the edge here, because it's on an angle coming in here, so it's sometimes difficult to get the stamping on the edge. So I kind of spread it out a little bit. So I just simply made this 6x6 piece, die cut it, and I'm putting it always up in the left corner. And then to position my stamps, I just laid them down over top. So let me replicate that so you can see what I did. So I just put the stamp in the hole. Actually, what I did was I stamped the two images, then I went through and cut them. with the die cuts, and then I had the place where they're supposed to go, so now I'm probably not going to work as nicely as I'd hoped, but you'll get the idea. So I stamped them, then die cut them out, and then I have my little holes that I'm going to put the blanks in. And then I was able to go and cut a whole bunch of the birds and the crabs for the folks to do their own stamping. This is something everybody could do. So they just came in, they put their crab in the little crab holder, here the little opening, and the bird up here. So I got to thinking how this is great for people who need assistance, but if you were making a whole bunch of these and you didn't want to have to keep going over, stamping them, putting them through the die cutter, you can go ahead and do a whole bunch of blanks and do this same thing and save yourself a lot of time. So then we open the ink pad, and you'll see I put a stamp set underneath here. That just helps it have something to push up against as I'm adding the ink. And so everyone was able to add this on very easily. There we go. I'm just going to actually move it over here. Now I picked up this little tool off Amazon, but I have been using a dry erase eraser, I guess. This just helps spread the weight around. So when you're using the Stamparatus, you put your blanks in there, you lay this over, and you can press with your hand, or as I've been using the dry erase. But then I saw one of my friends, Shauna, had this, and I thought it was a great idea, and it was super for the folks in Elmira because it's got a nice, easy grasp. And it's small enough for smaller hands that maybe with the dry erase it wasn't going to work quite as well. So I'm just going around and giving it even pressure, but not to worry if I don't get enough ink on it, because they're actually positioned in the same place. I could just re-ink, flip the side over, and press again. So I've gotten a little good at this. And so I've been able to do it. So anyway, I'm going to keep this idea going because I think that's a really handy way for people to be able to do that. Okay, so there's a couple of other things for this project that I cut out. We did a calendar. We always do a calendar in the new year. So I have a piece here that's 3 1/8 by 4 1/4. And that's my little mini calendar, is about 3 inches, so that gives it a nice little wee border around the 3 sides. And then the numbers 2023, which I die cut out with adhesive strip on them, made them little stickers so that the folks could go ahead and sticker those on very, very simply. All right, so here was the other piece that we did, and that's what I wanted to show you from scratch. So this is about 2 inches, and I just want it to cover the bottom segment here. Hi, Wendy. I'm going to take my soft suede, and the stamp I'm going to use is the seashells one here. So we did 2 things. We did the seashells on a block in soft suede, so it's dark enough to see them. I'm going to do it a couple times across this piece, and I'm doing it along the bottom. I can fill it in as I go because I also had them tear the paper, which they thought was so cool and such a neat different way of doing things. So that's probably a lot. Okay. There's my lovely seashells. And then what we did was we tore it. So to prepare for this class, just if you're a demonstrator and you're wondering how to help prepare for a class, these folks in this particular class are really good at peeling off dimensionals or our tear and tape, which should be here, close at hand, which comes on a strip like this. So I'll normally put tear and tape on the pieces that they're going to tear off. So this was easy to help them see where to do the tearing, because we put the tear and tape along the bottom, and then I said, so tear it about halfway down to where the seashells are. And they were like, tear the paper? What is this? But it worked out, and it gave it much more of a rustic look. And then we also, but I don't have a sponge handy, but I can do the same thing with cotton ball or a Stampin' Blend. I'm sorry, a blending brush. And I had little sponges for them though. Let's grab a blending brush. There we go. And the sponge worked really well for them. But they were able to sponge the edges. Ooh, this needs a little more ink. And dirty up their sandy piece. And boy, did that ever add texture to the torn edges. So give that a thought. It's an old scrapbooking technique of tearing the edges for paper that we don't do in card making quite so much unless you're used to doing a lot of vintage cards. It may not be something that you would do. I think I have a little pink on here too, which is adding a really nice color. But they really enjoyed using the sponges and sponging up and dirtying up their piece. So that's what we'll do there. And then next, I'm going to put my, so like I said, this is from Dollarama, but it's 5.5 by 5 3/4, so you can so easily replicate this idea. I'm going to get my tear and tape, and I'm just going to stick this down the bottom. Better than liquid glue, better than Stampin' Seal even. The tear and tape is going to work well on this project. So I'll put 2 little strips. You bought one of what things off Amazon? What did you get? Inquiring minds need to know. Oh, and I have a well, is it trivia? I guess it's kind of trivia. It's trivia about me. I don't know if it's interesting, but it's trivia. Just going to scroll down here. What did you buy? Because if you need a Stamparatus, I can connect you up. So here's my trivia for tonight. I realized that this month, 45 years ago, I learned to drive. I've been driving for 45 years. How frightening is that? That's crazy, right? Okay, so then we've got our piece here of green, which is basically from that piece up. It's sort of measured to fit perfectly. So I'd also, I'm repurposing this because I'm also out of these, I'm out of my calendars to make this one for tonight. I just didn't have any left. So I pulled this off my little desk calendar to repurpose. And I know someone posted that we do have a stamp with the mini calendars, and we do. It hasn't seen ink yet, I don't think, but, you know, I have that. Like we all do. We have stuff that we don't use soon enough. Okay, so again, I had this all fixed up for my folks, and they could just peel those off very easily. And then this, whoops, kind of gets centered. So this is where one person got super creative and put it this way, and then had her calendar the other way. And I was like, you're so smart, Elizabeth. Trying something different. Yeah, right? Go look for them. $1.50, like, what a deal. Did I put that on straight? Not really. I bought out all the ones at the one close to me. I bought 14, so I knew I'd need at least 10 for the class, sometimes 12, plus my sample or two. So I usually buy like about 14 of any one thing. So these letters and numbers are from a new set called Alphabet a la Mode, which I'm not going to show you very well because they're all backwards. But this helps them. If I put them the other way, then they don't stick on the magnet sheet quite as well because it's only got a small area to grip. But it's got the whole alphabet, a few other ampersand and exclamation point, and all the numbers. So that is a set. It's $58 in the January to April mini, and I think it's a great set. So these letters are about a little bit more than ½ inch wide. So I'd say about 5/8 of an inch wide, and they're about 1 3/4 inches tall. So I like how they're kind of skinnier than the ones we've had in the past, but taller than the most recent ones. But I like that because they'll fit better on cards. Those big ones that we had at one time, I love those, and I still use them for scrapbooking. But they do take up a lot of space on a card when you're just using a small area. So here we go. I'm not doing a great job of lining up, but that's okay. I'm cool with that. And so what I usually tell everybody is if you can't get it lined up straight, just do it crooked and then do them all crooked. And then everybody thinks it was whimsical and it was supposed to be that way. Right? Okay. So some people needed a little help starting the peeling off the back pieces there. But generally speaking, this went quite well. So there is our calendar on. Now it's time to decorate. So I die cut out these because they have texture on them. I did 3 in navy, 3 in crumb cake, and 3 in soft succulent. I'm sorry, 2 of each for them. And they have a bit of texture on them, so we didn't need to worry about stamping them or anything like that. And put the dimensionals on them. And then we can just decorate them around the sides of the calendar. And then I also did 2 of the grass pieces, and I sort of decorated them on either side. So these can go through with our adhesive sheets. So if you've never used adhesive sheets, they are the cat's pajamas. You put the adhesive sheet on your cardstock. You can use it on, foil paper or pattern paper or whatever. And then you peel the other side off. So it actually has a piece of sticky in between. And it helps with those very, very small die cuts, so you're not trying to get liquid glue everywhere, which never goes well. And then we put a little bit of dimension onto our critters here. And then I think I had this one like this. So I'm not worried because this is not going to stand up. I'm not worried that they're hanging off the edge a little bit. I mean, if I was standing it up, that would be crushing them a little, but I'm going to hang this up because it has a little hanger on it. So perfect. Find a spot to hang that up. And the little bird, you just don't want to have them impede the ability to tear off your monthly calendar pieces. And then we're ready to go here. A pressure tool. Oh, pressure tool. Yeah. Amazon. $4.50. Awesome. Awesome tool. I saw a number of them at varying prices, and because my friend Shauna had directed me there, and oh my goodness, very, very helpful. So I'm fighting the urge to have these symmetrical in color. But you get the idea. And so there's that. So I mean, these could go all the way around. In the center, if you didn't want to put a calendar, you can just decorate this with more of a scene of the project. By taking this shell with the pearl in it, adding a greeting. You can do a lot more with this, but this just worked out perfectly for that group, and I was looking for a platform on which to do their calendar, so I loved it. They loved it. They were all happy. So there you go. That's a little project for you featuring the Seaside Bay stamp set. Thanks for watching. I will be back on Monday. Monday's the 30th, with some cards. So check out what's going on there. And, oh, she made one for the 5 of us in our card group. Oh, so like, does she have like a 3D printer? Is that how that works? Interesting. I'm not sure. That's where I think this came from. It's probably like a 3D printer person. Or you can have them made or ordered or whatever. Yeah, they're just like $5. It was a great deal. Okay. All right, folks. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next week. Bye for now.